Alright, what's up guys? So today is the 6th of January 2018, and this is going to be a special transit talk, more homeopathic and herbal and medical astrology related. No, it's not my Uranus and Taurus video, but this takes a bit more precedence. So if you follow my channel or you've already seen it, the other day was specifically on the 4th of January, I uploaded a video talking about the Jupiter-Mars conjunction in Scorpio, and that being a prominent signature for acute contagious illness or widespread kind of pandemics or viruses in general. I already predicted, or at least made a random correlation video synchronistic wise 2 years ago about there being a historical documented event of a huge influenza outbreak in 1918, so that was 100 years ago. That obviously doesn't sync up with a certain planet orbit, starting its cycle over or anything like that, but synchronicity in general is still going to be a overwhelming theme. A lot of it is because Jupiter is in Scorpio, and we have a lot of other signatures more or less, like Uranus and Taurus, for example, which is going to contribute substantially to people's health and stability, because Taurus is the second house ruler. The polarity of that is Scorpio, which is the one associated with disease and viruses and contagious illnesses and stuff, poison. So we're pretty much seeing the beginning of the intensity that will be health crises and just pandemics with contagious illness or super bugs and viruses. So I'm just going to recap on some things, just in case you aren't following closely, if you haven't seen it, or unfortunately if you happen to be sick right now and you don't have the capacity to. So 2 days ago, I posted the health horoscope for January 2018. It's on my WordPress website, so rayreinhardt.blog. And if you just go to my homepage when you go to the website, just scroll all the way to the bottom. I made like my bio static, fixed on the top of the screen. You can just scroll to the bottom and you'll see all my blog posts. So check out the latest transit talk by me, talking about pandemics, outbreaks, and possible deaths from weak immune systems and viruses. So you can still see that video either on this blog or you can see it directly on my YouTube. So there's obviously been some concerns with agriculture and there being E. coli, bacteria outbreaks, and those sorts of things. Even people dying from toxic food supplies. Then one of the stories that I had highlighted, because I've been saving all the links to all the actual documented stories of deaths or outbreaks or any kind of things like that to correlate with my predictions. So dad fights for his life after ignoring flu symptoms, family says. I'll go ahead and click on this. I skimmed through it. I mean, I kind of already predicted this beforehand, so I already kind of know how this goes. But I'll go into details about this, and this is going to be crucial and something that I'll go over with some of the potential alternative homeopathic remedies and symptoms and everything to go over with people, so they don't become a victim like this gentleman did. So, a father of four is fighting for his life in San Diego hospital after he ignored a series of flu-like symptoms, his family said. So he now has pneumonia and his kidneys are failing. Pneumonia is basically in sequence the more severe condition that can arise after someone has contracted some sort of viral bacteria, virus, or flu-like thing. Typically colds are not classified as that. It would be more flu-borne illness, which this has already been confirmed by, I guess, health professionals and biologists or whatever, that this is going to be one of the worst flu seasons in record memory, which I guess that coincides with the whole 100-year, anniversary of the 1918 influenza outbreak. So he said he had a little chest congestion, headache, body ache. That's influenza symptoms, by the way. The usual stuff when you're like, okay, I'm getting the flu. See, this is why it's also very important, I'm going to go over this, the different characterized symptoms with common colds, flu, influenza, pneumonia, because people often get the symptoms kind of mixed up, because who really is a hypochondriac to that level besides me, I guess, or a doctor or a medical professional that specifically knows by bullet point every single different kind of symptom and how they differ from other conditions. So it said Sean's symptoms worsened on New Year's Day, which was one of the days that I started getting really in hypochondriac mode or whatever. I know Saturn's going over my 8th house right now, and Pluto's already there, and I have Neptune there too. So I'm just like, oh my god, and I have Neptune square my sun, so the ideations or plutonic Armageddon apocalyptic I guess illusions get the best of me sometimes. So I started to feel this urgency about this, and it says they told me it was renal failure. His white count was through the roof. He had severe pneumonia. They're documenting his progress on Facebook. I still can't believe this is happening, she wrote in a post. I cling to every piece of positive progress. And also, anybody who may follow this too, they are doing a youcaring.com to raise money for the medical expenses, because naturally, I'm sure, by the sounds of it, he likely has to pay for his own insurance, and it's going to be super expensive with the rise in healthcare, the cost and the premiums going up on the 1st. What a way to start his New Year's. He has to pay the extra, increase inflation with the premiums. Assuming he makes it, of course. Unfortunately, I don't know this person, and I doubt they'll ever see this or anything, but that it's not looking probably good for him. I didn't look at the chart specifically, but there is a substantial amounts of death signatures throughout this transit duration. And it says, Jennifer says, on top of dealing with her husband's diagnosis, 2 little children also tested positive for the flu. Jeez. She said her household opted against the flu shot and urges other families to be cautious. The flu shot's actually very hazardous, especially this year. And in all my book references that I'm going to thoroughly go over, it actually, discourages the flu shot. Because it's not an actual, foolproof thing. In fact, they're just infecting, that's why you get sick after you get the flu shot. They're just infecting you with a weaker virus and hoping that whatever viruses are basically running rampant are kind of within the same kind of genetic compound or whatever, or mutation as the one that they gave you in the shot. Clearly it's a whole different virus, a superbug this time, and it totally fucked up. And the worst part about that is that if it's a hit or miss, and it's a freaking miss, then that means you just had your immune system weakened, and you have a flu virus that now you have to fight off, and the one that you're going to catch that's transmuted, or what's the word? Contagious, airborne. That's what I was trying to say. Is now going to be even worse, because having a weak immune system, or somebody with a condition that would cause a weak immune system, is the number one target for this, unfortunately. And that's also why it's going to play into this, why it's important to know the symptoms of the flu, influenza, pneumonia, etc., and how long they usually last, and what you should do, and how strict and diligent you have to be with making sure you're taking care of yourself. You're following a nutrition regimen. You're making sure you're getting all the vitamins and minerals and supplements that you need, and rest. And the people that really try to push through and work really hard and overwork themselves, those are the people that are going to die. I'm just telling you right now. Let's see. Sean, U.S. Navy veteran, is reportedly on dialysis and remains in intensive care unit. Yeah. If you're sick, the first cough, I don't care if it's not the flu, just go get seen just in case. That's exactly what I said, and I didn't even thoroughly read this actual report. I just saw me scrolling through Facebook. I think Boo actually saw it. But I've seen so many of them now that it's kind of hard to keep them straight. And yeah, and we're just a couple days into this. In fact, the exact conjunction between Jupiter and Mars isn't even in the exact alignments right now. It's going to be in about a week. And then also when we go into Aquarius season, which is, the second half of January, Aquarius is associated with trauma signatures in the 11th house. So when the sun goes in there, that's associated with the self and life, and that's a trauma signature. So having Jupiter conjunct with Mars and having the self in the trauma signature house is going to spell disastrous, and it's definitely a death signature. So let's see, where else? 2008 flu season, worst outbreak in living memory. Already covered that. Above average doctor visits for flu epidemic in Dallas, Texas. There's an outbreak that's getting worse. Flu season on full blast. So these are kind of just different sources echoing the same story. We all know that. There's the same story circulating on every single news source there is. So Saturn and Pluto, Saturn, Pluto in Capricorn, Neptune, Chiron in Pisces, although it's about to finish up into Pisces and go into Aries soon, which is good and bad because Aries is associated with Mars. Mars is one of this, the planets in this conjunction. It also has to do with your immune system. So Chiron being in Aries actually will just magnify everybody's weak immune systems in general. So I don't know, maybe if it's actually better if it would stay in Pisces. So it says, and Chiron is set to transit in Aries soon. The flu and influenza deadly global outbreak of 1918. Here we go again. Important info. Medical professionals are unsure of the effectiveness of the flu vaccines this year. Acute symptoms usually last from 5 to 10 days, but typically it takes nearly 3 to 4 weeks to purge the virus, meaning although symptoms seem less severe, you may feel better. Everyone is susceptible to sudden life-threatening conditions at any point during this transit and contaminated period. Overall wellness and immune systems are different from person to person, but even the most healthy people need to take all precautions. Antibiotics, whether prescription, I actually thoroughly read through my references. Antibiotics actually have no effect on any of these kinds of viruses. So it's there's no. That's also why there's probably a typical trend where people don't go in, and there's nothing that they can really do. They can give you something to alleviate the symptoms, which actually that could be potentially hazardous or just contributing to people masking the symptoms, overlooking how severe they are or how weak they are, and then they die from that. So I literally myself, I poured the rest of my Dayquil that I had a little bit left, just because I have a bunch of over-the-counter stuff for like my kids and stuff. I poured it down the drain because at least NyQuil is one thing because it's a sedative to let you go to sleep. But if you're taking something to mask the symptoms so you can run yourself ragged all day, that is a recipe for death. So it says take all precautions, whether prescription, which is highly advisable with how aggressive this will get, or herbal equivalents should be utilized. I'm going to thoroughly go over every single herbal remedy that I personally used or that I reference from all my credible homeopathy and herbal texts that I have over here. Like a stack of books I'll get to. If you opt to use herbal natural remedies, start them now. Even if you're not sick, homeopathy and herbal lore treatments are not a recommended remedy for severe intervention. Go to your local health food store if you want some more recommendations, or just watch this entire video. For those who follow my vlogs and homeopathic tutorials, hang tight. I'm going to do the special discussion on me talking about this. So, by the way, anybody interested in an astro diagnostic consultation? So, like I was saying, everybody's immune system differs from person to person. There are different, for example, me having Saturn square Mars, I have a mineral deficiency naturally. I can't absorb like iron and calcium and zinc to the same effect that a typical like healthy average person can. And although that's not necessarily a disease per se, but it does have ramifications because iron is actually one of the key minerals to have a healthy supply of it in your diet to make sure that you can ward off inflammation and infections of the sort. So it's important for you to understand the astrological dynamic or the medical astrology profile of you as an individual, and every single person is different. So if you are unaware of your astromedical profile, or if you'd like to have a consultation with me, see when potentially throughout this year you're going to have, some weak immune spells or issues or any illnesses that may potentially, like windows that are coming up, and specifically any herbals or nutritional kind of guides that are geared specifically for you to help boost your immune system and your overall health, to make sure that you're not fighting against this potential death signature with these flu and influenza outbreaks. Then you can contact me. You can go on rayreinhardt.blog and go to my services page, or just email me at rayreinhardt and we can get that going, and I can do that right away. I can do them pre-recorded videos, or I can and you can kind of give me some questions, or we can do it live, either way. So let's see. Also, for returning or potential future clients seeking astromedical consultations, keeping records of dates and times for conditions, symptoms, and illnesses is important and extremely useful for accurate consult. So, for example, if I start coming down like with a fever right this second, I would clock that it's at 2:52 p.m. on the 6th of January 2018. I could put up a chart, put my chart up to it, and I'd be able to see likely that there would be some sort of aspect between Mars, 'cause that's usually acute and something to do with fevers, with like my Mercury or maybe Uranus or something like that, or maybe even Neptune and Saturn going over my 8th house of disease. So there's specific signatures, and there is certain herbs and certain treatments that are, more geared towards certain planets and signs or whatever, just as I was, going on about with getting the actual medical astrology, profile diagnostic work. So I can see what is the general origin of what is being caused, and then we can not only, strengthen your immune system, but then also nourish the origin or the influences of that origin to empower your body to heal and defend itself even more so. And then I've got on this log my Scorpio season 1918 global disease epidemic. I've already talked about this with my Neptune in Pisces, transit video I did 2 years ago as well, that Neptune Pisces is notorious for, ethnic cleansings or some sort of pandemic or widespread like the Black Plague and that sort of thing. Let's see. Then I posted this today. I'm going to add this vlog discussion once it's done. Surviving the 2018 flu season, Jupiter in Scorpio, entry in progress. So I'll just go over this list and it'll kind of just go into the rest of my books over there. So how to survive the deadly flu season in 2017 to 2018. Nutrition and vitamins are the #1 defense. Vitamin A is an overall immune booster. Vitamin E is for lung respiratory health, so ideal for people with pneumonia especially. The best way to prevent developing any type of pneumonia, any of the 3 types of pneumonia. There's bacterial, there's viral, and then there's, I think it's chemical. And then iron, diet or supplement, key to fighting infection and inflammation. Vitamin C, also hot water, lemon, citrus drinks, adding, lemon to your hot cup of teas or whatever. Drinks 3 to 4 cups daily for about 4 to 5 weeks. Make sure if you add any other herbal supplements to that you're not using something like Goldenseal or valerian root or something of that sort that is not recommended for long-term use or regular use. Recommended zinc, calcium, natural salts, even the Epsom salts. If you even do foot soaks, the herbal foot soak bath therapies. I actually never uploaded that reflexology and homeopathy and herbal baths video, and I randomly just found it the other day. I'll upload it right after I'm done with this as well, and that goes into extensive methods of actually putting herbs and salts and stuff like that and some of the minerals that you need into a foot bath, and you absorb it through your feet, which is a very, very absorbing orifice more or less for your body to help you release toxins. So garlic capsules, raw garlic, or garlic soup infusions, etc., are ideal, and that's the easiest way for you to continue to get your fluids in, make sure you're eating, and hold on, I'll even... So garlic ginger root, I made a bunch of these quite some time ago. I made a huge amount that I was going to sell at some barter fair that I didn't end up going to, but I've ended up using all of it. And also I briefly mentioned in the beginning that there is some contaminated agriculture or something like that. When I ended up bottling this, it was on November 30th. It's I don't know if you can actually see this or tell, but it's a very, very weird discoloration, and I've made a ton of this garlic stuff already, and I never ever seen it turn green. I did Google it, and it says that sometimes it turns green when you pickle it in vinegar. I clearly did not put this in vinegar, and I'm just like, yeah, my intuition is usually really on point, especially about hazardous or deadly things or toxic things, and I'm even apprehensive to open this bottle. I think I'm actually waiting to do another batch with a completely different source for garlic. I got it from a discount, grocer, which I've already made, sarcastic commentary about how they have fish there on clearance. So, I mean, I've already put 2 and 2 together and speculated that anything that would be toxic and in plentiful amounts, because it's not getting sold in the stores, that it would just go there, and people are just trying to at least, make some profit and make a living, as much as they can, I guess, sell self-integrity or something like that, and not even say anything. So I'm just like, and it's also winter time, and I'm just thinking like, so it's either, not, it's artificially made or it came from China or something like that. But yeah, it should not be green at all. And then even on top of that, even though I filtered it, it's almost got like this weird mucus that's collecting at the bottom. So be aware if you do make your own tinctures, no matter where you're getting it from, be aware of what the color, what the smell is supposed to be like. Even research it, look into it, even ask me, and make sure that what you're getting is actually not contaminated or toxic as well. Because the last thing you'd want to do is try to beef up your immune system with toxic or contaminated bacteria-infested, herbal sources and stuff. That would just be awful. I do find it funny, I uploaded that to my Instagram and I decided to use the song called Parasitic by Cyclone 9. And I'm starting to wonder if that was like an intuitive thing, kind of warning me about how that's not going to be good. But anyway, so you can do the garlic capsules, raw garlic if you can handle that. Also, if you've got teeth issues going on, since Saturn's in Capricorn and Pluto's in Capricorn still as well, if you bite down on raw garlic cloves, it actually helps with infections in the mouth and gums and any kind of, like cavities and stuff like that. So 2 birds, 1 stone, you can chomp it up if you can handle that. Maybe Boo could. Like, I could never do that. I have too sensitive of a palate. And you can 2 birds, 1 stone, fix your teeth, fix your, infection in your mouth, and, boost your immune system. So garlic soup infusions is usually what I do. And I add a lot of cayenne and all kinds of other, powdered herbs to it as well to help with that. So garlic, ginger, echinacea, Goldenseal are herbal antibiotic alternatives. Garlic is the equivalent to penicillin when we're talking about herbal antibiotics. And the benefit of that, though, as well, is not only are they detoxing and antibiotics and tonics, but they actually are strengthening and promoting your immune system. So synthetic antibiotics that you would get from like a prescription, those are actually just things that are completely clearing out your system, including all of the, the defenses that your body's trying to accumulate. So it's actually just trying to start with a clean slate and hope that your blood cells and your white blood cells count actually, bounce back quicker than the virus that's in you. That's not good odds, especially with what's going on. So note tips and recommendations or cautions. Goldenseal is effective for purifying and purging viral bacteria, but is not recommended for daily or frequent consumption. Garlic is your safest bet. Garlic is totally safe. There's no overdosing on it. The amount of garlic you would have to ingest, more or less, to even do so that'd be impressive. And with my tinctures, like I make these alcohol based, and I pour them into the soups and it cooks off a little bit. There's some nutrients, as most vegetables and plants lose some of the nutrients and their enzymes when you cook them off. Garlic does as well, but it's not as substantial as it is with other things. So avoid consuming citrus or lemon teas or drinks when taking zinc supplements. The citrus, a natural detox, flushes out the zinc, and the body absorbing it substantially less. So there's no point in putting all those supplements or herbal capsules or anything like that, or even zinc, and then just downing it with some lemon tea, and then you basically just flush it completely out of your system. So be mindful of that. Being aware of your overall wellness is number 2. What's typically normal for you? Every person's body's different. So usually when somebody, like for example, that guy in that story was saying, I was coming down, with the typical symptoms. Obviously don't generalize and make sure that you're actually aware. But like for me, for example, like if I start to feel like gross or sick, I start to feel stiff and lethargic because I have Neptune Capricorn in the 8th house of disease. So it's instantly like I just feel like I'm stiff, and I'm just like, great. I'm like, it's just all downhill from here. So that's something that I'm aware of in the symptoms that arise. Understanding risk factors with any pre-existing conditions. So if you have already, some conditions, diabetes, HIV, or immune deficiency, or something like that, or in general, if you have any or health deficiencies that make one susceptible to viruses or unhealthy conditions, etc. Recognizing red flags and symptoms, whether acute, chronic, or long-term, is crucial to fighting off illness and combating aggressive contagious viruses. So, for example, that gentleman in particular, he got sick around Christmas time, and then it started to really, it started to basically make a comeback on New Year's Day. The fact that he never fully got over it, and he started to have like almost a peak of severe symptoms yet again, that is a huge red flag. So fighting off the illness and combating aggressive contagious illnesses for chronic or long term is crucial. Documenting and recording progression of the condition, symptoms, ailments, problems, regardless if you actually get an medical diagnosis or not, especially with the duration and the severity, like with this gentleman here. If he would have even just logged, like I even do it on my social media, my Facebook sometimes, I'll just bitch and go, oh my god, I have a fever. Like, I look back on this day 5 years ago today, and I was bitching about at like 6 a.m. in the morning that I had a fever. And then I said, fuck off, fever. And as much as that seems really silly and stupid, I actually have that as a record to go off of. So if you use social media, that's a really easy tool to do so. And then you have something to post about. Or if you have a diary or something like that, or you want to log it on a calendar, it's important to know like the day you started feeling really crappy and when it starts to get severe. Obviously, huge red flags like, a really explosive fever, that sort of thing. Something that's completely, like you're unstable and puking everywhere and you're incoherent. Obviously, emergency, medical intervention is necessary at that point. But still, documenting and recording the progress of conditions, symptoms, and ailments and problems, even again if you weren't to get a diagnostic reading, taking those kinds of things to your doctor specifically too. Like for that gentleman that's now in ICU, that would have been very beneficial, and they could have tried to start treating him right away, and he would have been a lot better off maybe. So obviously not everyone is aware of their health history and level of detail. Again, those interested in a reading. So number 3, understanding what the differences are with common viral illnesses and conditions, also being aware of the symptoms and issues attributed to each. So I actually didn't fill the rest of that out. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my book references now, and yeah. Actually start with my notes here. So quick immune health tips. If you take 5 grams of vitamin C daily, helps with immune boosting properties. 200 milligrams of Echinacea tablets or capsules 2 times daily, or 2 times the 200 milligrams, so 400 milligrams of Echinacea capsules 3 times daily to fight infections. Sorry, and then 200 milligrams of garlic capsules 3 times daily. Daily while cold and flu illness is persisting. Eat lots of fruit, but be aware of recalls and contaminations. And buy the fruit whole and cut it up yourself, or have somebody else do it if you're sick, because not only is it frequent, and it's been a thing obviously with the transits, there being contaminations with pre-cut produce, ready to go meal kind of food stuff, like at Safeway or something like that, or a grocer. But think of all the people that now have the flu that are forcing themselves to go to work, that are going to be just like this guy, exactly like dozens of people I'm sure that will end up critical or die because they didn't take care of themselves and they went to work. And then they're going to continue to spread it and contaminate everybody. And that would be even awful if they are people that are working in produce and they're touching the fruit that people are going to the store to take so they can try to boost their immune system, and it ends up killing them. It would be awful. I'm not trying to be negative Nancy hardcore, but it's kind of hard for me not to be. Avoid starches and alcohol. It increases mucus. Typically, yeah, if you're a recreational drinker, I've been kind of like, but a lot of my tinctures are made with alcohol, but I don't, it's not the same kind of, I guess, thing as what they're talking about. And then iron supplements is a nutritional alternative that helps with inflammation, fever, and infection. It helps prevent it, actually. And let's see. What do we got here? Illnesses, conditions, and diseases with herbal treatments. Flus, colds, chills, fever, and aches and influenza. So these are recipes. So go ahead and get pen and paper out, or pause it if you want to write these down. So there's elderflowers, yarrow flower. You need 10 these are all dried, and peppermint leaves. So 10 grams each. You don't have to be really meticulous with the measurements. I honestly, I just have jars of herbs all the time. I'll just get a tablespoon and I'll just put some in there or whatever. If it's just an actual tea infusion anyway, it's not like it's a fermentation tincture where it's pulling out every single little bit of micronutrients or anything like that. So, and also these three are not anything to be concerned about with overdosing. So elderflowers, yarrow flower, and peppermint, and these are all dried, used for basic congestion mix or for head and sinus congestion, which contributes to that as well. When you're completely plugged up with a virus, your mucous membranes are going to be swollen and inflamed. So drink 1 brewed cup every 2 to 3 hours as needed. Reduce to every 4 to 5 hours as symptoms improve. This is for tea infusions. Then a cold and chills and aches tea. It's ginger, fresh rooted. You can use dry, but fresh is better, and fresh is usually more accessible. So fresh ginger root and cinnamon, powdered cinnamon. So you can actually use the spice that you get from the store. And you do 20 grams of the fresh chopped root ginger, and then 5 grams of the powdered cinnamon. 1 brew cup for every 3 to 4 hours as needed. That helps with relieving chills and the shakes in general when you're having the sweats and the cold sweats from the fever. So then flu symptoms, which would be cough, fever, nausea, aches, vomiting. You would use echinacea, 10 grams, licorice root, 5 grams, boneset, yarrow, and vervain root and flowers. You use 5 grams equal each for that. So again, there's besides the fact that you wouldn't want to take boneset or licorice root long term or vervain, there's no really concern or caution more or less with why they decided to measure it out like that. If you want to get really Virgo and meticulous about it, then go for it. But yeah, so brew 1 cup for every 3 to 4 hours, and if depression follows the flu attack, continue 1 to 2 cups daily for 2 weeks. And that's for a tea deduction. So fatigue, anxiety, and stress. Stress is a major contributing factor to people's immune systems being weak in general. And fatigue in general is a influenza symptom. And also you just having a weak immune system and being sick in general too. So anxiety goes, coincides with stress as well. So it's a sedative tea for this. So it helps with anxiety, and it also helps to, a sedative more or less to help you sleep with if you have aches and pains. So it helps with tension, insomnia. So as a bedtime tea, 4 cup, you would actually replace, hold on, let me backtrack. So the actual herb ingredients are skullcap, 40 grams dried, vervain, 20 grams dried, and lemon balm, 10 grams dried. And you can do an optional wood bentony. I don't actually like to use that one because that's one of the herbs that's listed as toxic. And I just try to, if I can help it, I just try to avoid altogether the herbs or the plants that are highlighted as toxic, regardless of if it's in large quantities or not, so I never make that mistake. Especially when you're sick and stuff and you're not thinking straight, that's usually, I would say that that's a good rule to follow, personally for myself. So when it's a bedtime tea, you replace for insomnia, replace hops and St. John's wort, 1 brewed cup 30 minutes before bed. Oh, so replace the lemon balm and the bentony with St. John's wort and hops. And for anxiety, you can do 4 cups daily for anxiety, and you follow the original recipe, which is skullcap, vervain, lemon balm. Lemon balm and skullcap are both basically well for treating anxiety. So you can actually do a tincture of 2 tablespoons in water if you were to have a tincture of this kind. You can go to your local organic or health food store, or you can actually contact me because I know I've got lemon balm and echinacea tincture over there. I don't think I have vervain. And I've got one that has fungreek in it as well. Anybody who's interested in any of my tinctures or wants to know what I have per se, you're more than welcome to hit me up as well about that. So a congestion or detox and cleansing tea would be elderflower, which is a mixture of hyssop and vervain, 25 grams dried, dandelion root or dandelion leaves, 10 grams dried, licorice root, 10 grams dried, and then you one brewed cup of coffee cup 3 times daily, daily before meals, best during spring or going into spring. It can be used as a tincture as well. It cleanses the liver. Liver is also associated with Taurus. Helps detox and eliminate mucus and sinuses. And then we have a respiratory and congestion relief recipe. This one's actually not a tea. It's actually an aromatherapy inhalant. So it's all oils, essential oils, lavender, thyme, tea tree oil, and peppermint. Or you can use eucalyptus as a substitution. I honestly think eucalyptus works a little bit better than peppermint. That's usually the main ingredient in Vicks, so there you go. So you can use 4 milliliters of lavender, 3 milliliters of thyme, and 2 milliliters of tea tree oil. I note that thyme and rosemary are usually used in a very minimal amounts in comparison to the rest of recipes because they're very potent. So you do not ingest this. You do not ingest this. Combine measurements into a hot boiling pot. Obviously, don't make sure it's not a roaring boil because you're going to put your face over it. Pot of water. Stand over the pot after you turn it off and inhale to alleviate congestion. Inhalant or aromatherapy. At night, add lavender, eucalyptus, and thyme to a diffuser for relief. So you can use the same thing that you just put on the stove, and you can put it into one of those, humidifiers or diffusers in general to continue to give yourself some sort of relief throughout the night. That's an herbal or organic substitute for like the Mucinex stuff that not only puts you to bed, but it also, suppresses symptoms substantially, which, again, that has worked in the past, and that in certain case scenarios that could work. But in this case, because it can turn to really severe and acute and extreme suddenly, it's very, very, I discourage very much so to basically be dependent on anything that's alleviating symptoms, especially when you're actually moving around or whatever. So let's see. I reference from my complete guide of homeopathy for colds and flus, self-help treatments. You need to rest, drink warm fluids, hot teas, especially hot water with lemon and honey. Take vitamins A, C, and zinc. I'll go thoroughly into that some more in a second. And eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. And for pneumonia, treatments and recommendations, immunity for health and lungs. Healthy immune systems are better or more effective than vaccines. In fact, vaccines, as far as I've read on articles from medical professionals, as well as all my reference books over there, have said to stay the hell away from vaccines in general. Vitamin E, 800 IU daily, and vitamin A, immunity fighter and boost the vitamin E's effectiveness and absorption rate. Do not exceed 25,000 IU daily for vitamin E. And stress depletes 60% of vitamins from the body, so be aware of that. That's why doing those teas that is supposed to be anxiety relief, or finding ways to relieve some form of anxiety, would be beneficial. Also, if you're not familiar with this, smudging with sage sticks, white sage, that actually is very effective for relieving anxiety. Obviously, don't do it too much, especially if you're having huge respiratory issues per se. But you can even do sage oil in a diffuser if you wanted. But smudging helps with anxiety. And let's see. Yeah, and then iron. That's all I have in that. Okay. I already got my huge stack of books. So I just have my tabs here. Sorry if it seems really all over the place. I'm just going to go through one book at a time so I don't get lost in anything. Let's see. Did I put... I think I just used this one as a reference. Let's see, what is this one? Herbal teas, chamomile, hibiscus, anise, peppermint. Anise is actually the main ingredient in my tincture that me and Boo keep drinking all of it. Which is probably the only reason why my hardcore asthmatic ass, since I smoke recreational weed occasionally, and that actually, makes you more susceptible to, yeah. And I have a Chiron in Gemini in opposition with Saturn. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm pretty sure it's me taking that anise that's actually prevented that. Lemon balm, burdock, cinnamon, citrus, ginger, valerian, lavender, hops, passion flower, and kava kava are all herbal teas and variations that could be beneficial for stress relieving properties, as well as medicinal properties for sinus relief and tonics and detox. Let's see. That's all I got for that book? I think so. Alrighty. Here's my wheatgrass book. Wheatgrass, I actually have, I used to grow my own wheatgrass. I really need to get on top of that again. It's actually not that hard if you have a longer attention span and consistency than I do. If you have Saturn in Sagittarius and a lot of mutable, you may not always be on top of it to watch it. If you have a fire, an earth sign, roommate or housemate or something like that, have them help you keep an eye on stuff. But this is a tincture actually of chlorophyll. It's wheatgrass. I got it from my local health food store, but you can order it online. One of my friends on social media and clients just actually ordered some after I posted about it on my Instagram. So this is the wheatgrass book. And let's see. Reversing illness. Wheatgrass juice is perhaps the most powerful and safest healing aid there is. Not because it can attack and destroy bacteria or malignant cells like some drugs, but because it has the ability to strengthen the whole body and the immune system as well. The body's ability to fight illness is determined by the immune system. Wheatgrass juice and other raw foods may increase odds of you overcoming any kind of health problems. In reality, no drug has ever healed a person. Knowing this fully well, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, stated the body heals itself. The physician not only nature's assistant, an ideal ally for battling against disease, including illnesses like heart disease and certain forms of cancer. Okay. Let's see. Wheatgrass is a good source of calcium, restores balance of blood pH. It has a substantial, impressive amount of vitamin D. This is especially true for people's... Okay, let's see. Oh, wheatgrass is also a fairly good source of iron. Sorry. I have so many highlighted things from other times I was referencing this book. Okay. The amount of vitamins of A and C in wheatgrass juice compares favorably to the vitamin content in many common fruits and garden vegetables. In addition, wheatgrass juice contains optimum amounts of B complex vitamins, vitamin E, calcium, iron, sodium, and potassium. There's that one. Alright, and then there's this book called Coconut Oil Miracle. And obviously don't believe anything that the mainstream fake news is saying. Coconut oil is not bad for you. In fact, if you were to read or even skim through the tabbed pages in this, you would be thoroughly aware, just like Monsanto tries to tell you that corn oil is not bad for you, you'd be thoroughly aware why they're telling you that. Because if everybody actually just incorporated coconut oil like into their diet, like even just putting it in some hot tea or cocoa or coffee in the morning, you'd actually be able to reverse a lot of symptoms because it helps treat thyroid issues and the lymphatic nodes, etc., and digestive issues as well. It fights it's a cancer defender and all kinds of things. So this would definitely, this book in itself, and I actually got it for $1.49. This book in itself could put the pharmaceutical industry out of business. And that's why they're starting to talk shit about coconut oil, only because now it's becoming a popular thing. So it's common for infections from these organisms to persist indefinitely. As long as there's an infection or inflammation persisting, plaque continues to develop. This is why there's no cure for the common cold or viral infections, such as cold, flu, herpes, or mononucleosis. Vaccines are considered our most effective weapon against viral infections. These vaccines, however, have the potential to cause infections and other illnesses, so they aren't completely safe. The only real protection against viral infections is our body's own natural defenses. Because there is no cure for viral infections, they can become deadly, especially in individuals with depressed immune systems. We are at the age of super germs, and medications cannot be relied on to protect us against all infectious organisms. We need something more to boost our immune system and help us fight these troublesome invaders and super antimicrobials. So actually, I'm reading about coconut oil, but the wheatgrass thing was just sitting in front of this. The reason why I actually got into wheatgrass, besides the fact that I have mineral deficiencies, is this was thoroughly tested by Japanese biologists and scientists and health professionals to be the most effective treatment for anybody who's had long, extensive, chronic radiation exposure from Hiroshima when, World War II and the bombing and everything. So, but I thought I was still reading the wheatgrass thing because that was right there. So, if you actually incorporate wheatgrass tinctures, or wheatgrass in general, you can get it usually at your health food store. You can just start growing your own. And coconut oil in your diet, like you cut half of the potential hazards or susceptibilities to any of these viral infections, but I would say over half. I'm horrible at math, but let's go with it. So let's see. Coconut oil is super antimicrobial. Many of these germs cause disease. Medicinal plants. Coconut is medicinal plants to help protect us from the attack of these harmful pests. Coconut is one of these. There is no medicine, no cure for the common cold or flu. When you get sick, you have to let your body fight its own battle. Take 2 to 3 tablespoons of coconut oil mixed in a glass of lukewarm orange juice with every meal. Or Boo even puts it in his coffee. And I even put...
If you use a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of coconut oil, stevia optional, and that's great for blood sugars as well as other benefits.
Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and interject and say just skip the butter and just do a little bit extra coconut oil if you have the flu. Because, the butter doesn't actually have any of the medicinal properties, more or less, with the flu, kind of combating that. Coconut oil had many nutritional benefits to help with infections and helps with sore throat, sinus congestion, fatigue. Let's see. And seasonal infections. One of the most amazing aspects about coconut oil is the ability to fight infections. When coconut oil is eaten, the body transforms its unique fatty acids into powerful antimicrobial defense forces capable of defeating some of the most notorious disease-causing microorganisms. Even supergerms are vulnerable to the life-saving coconut derivatives. The unique properties of coconut oil make it, in essence, a natural antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and anti-protozoa food. Coconut oil's antimicrobial effects come from the unique composition of fatty acids and exhibit antimicrobial properties. Coconut oil's potential for treating and preventing widespread of assortments of infections is truly astounding, and ranging from flu-like life-threatening conditions and such as AIDS, treating individuals infected with HIV. Eating coconut oil may be a simple solution to many illnesses we face today. Laboratory tests have shown coconut oil are effective with destroying the viruses that cause influenza, measles, herpes, mononucleosis, hepatitis C, and AIDS. Bacteria that can cause stomach ulcers, throat infections, pneumonia, sinusitis, earaches, rheumatoid fever, dental cavities, food poisoning, urinary tract infections, meningitis, gonorrhea, or toxic shock syndrome, fungi and yeast, and lead to ringworm and parasites that can cause intestinal infections such as Giardiasis. I guess I'm not as good of a hypochondriac as I thought. Geriasis, whatever. While coconut oil is deadly to disease-causing microorganisms, it's harmless to humans. So again, your failsafe is garlic and coconut oil. Let's see. Is that all I got here? Yeah, that's all I got for this one. Okay. One of my books kind of reiterates on similar, suggestions, but I just like the way that this one was written. It was kind of cool. And again, this book, I've seen this book, I've actually seen this book at more than one Goodwill and Salvation Army before, from Nevada to Idaho to Washington, and I even have seen multiple copies of this in my same local area in my thrift store now, and I'm just like, why doesn't anybody, wow, yeah. So common cold, go for Goldenseal. So I've talked about Goldenseal before. You just don't use it long term or on a regular basis. To help fight the viral infection that causes the common cold, Goldenseal is the natural choice, loaded with berberine and botanical antibiotics, made an infusion from a teaspoonful of dried Goldenseal in hot water. So it's basically making a really ghetto cheap infusion with the tea or whatever. You can put it in one of those little tea capsule things if you want, or just put it in a kettle and just, sift it out like I do. An alternative, take 1/2 of a teaspoon of Goldenseal tincture twice daily. I've actually wanted to make a Goldenseal tincture before, and for some reason I keep finding golden rod, and it's not the same thing. So, yeah. Let's see. Herbal cold remedies. Echinacea. Herbal cold remedy stimulates the immune system to fight infection. It is most effective with short-term use. Again, because it's an herbal equivalent to antibiotics, so if you overuse it, then your body becomes immune. Then it says, 2 herbs can be better than 1. Goldenseal and Echinacea are a dynamic cold-fighting duo. Goldenseal can be toxic in large quantities and leach the vitamin B out of your body, so be careful. So even if you haven't taken it to toxic levels, it does deplete your B vitamin, whatever you've got stocked up in there. So your B vitamin complex is something you're also going to have to take. I'll go over that in a minute. So like cures like in the shower too. In Germany not too long ago, researchers discovered an odd connection. Cold showers help prevent colds. Basically, they had subjects take hot showers and then turn the cold water on for the last 2 minutes. After a year-long study, researchers found that these folks had significant fewer colds than their hot shower counterparts. Theory has it that not only was the circulation improved, but also the flow of the white blood cells which fight infection. So, I've even done this before when I get hot or overheated. I will go stick my feet in an ice bath or whatever, or when I would have like swollen kind of, edema or toxema kind of things, I would go put it in an ice bath with some herbs and stuff, and that would be substantially beneficial for that. So, good old garlic, again, I've already re-emphasized on that. The jury is still out whether garlic can ward off evil spirits and vampires. Just for the record, they don't necessarily like it too much. But you can believe that garlic can help fight the common cold. Again, it's helps to purge toxins and it's micronutrients, and it helps boost your immunity. And then we have spicy cold therapy. Me and Boo actually do this. Add cayenne pepper. This scorching seasoning is in its rawest forms, gets the body fluids flowing. Sprinkle powdered cayenne or a drop or 2 of liquid extract into your favorite soup or spicy for super spicy therapy. We've been doing that regularly, actually, and yeah, I think it's just because we like spicy stuff, and then I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do that too. So, thankfully for that. Elderberry cold fighter. So you can get elderberry cough medicine usually at either in your organic section at a grocer or your local health food store. As a natural replacement for over-the-counter cold concoctions, swallow a tablespoon of extract for every few hours. It's loaded with bioflavonoids and vitamin C. Powerful pair of herbalists believe the work in a concert to knock out viral infections that cause colds. You can find it at your local health food store after I said that. Let's see. Treat your cold gingerly. Ginger tea. So substitute your ginger ale for ginger tea. You should always substitute actually any liquids that you're drinking for hot fluids first and foremost. Water primarily, juices if anything. They're made of vegetables and fruit, or teas. You should definitely stay away from carbonated stuff or syrupy things. I guess ginger ale is better than doing nothing, but I mean, how bad do you want to die or live, I guess? That's the kind of level of severity that we're at, so yeah. There's not even like half-assing this. So, ginger tea boosts immune system activity. Stir 2 teaspoons of grated ginger root into a cup of boiling water and allow mixture to steep. So you can use dried ginger root or powder, or you can just use the actual fresh stuff, depending on how you want to do it. Add a little bit of a spoonful of honey for sweetness. Also helps with irritation in the throat too. Let's see. Garlic as a flu fighter. Garlic has been used for thousands of years for medicinal purposes because of its antibiotic properties. So during the height of the flu season, apply... This is actually the coolest freaking thing ever, and I'm going to totally make this today, because that makes total sense. So during the height of flu season, apply 5 drops of garlic tincture to each nostril, the first place you're likely to pick up flu viruses, every few hours for a few days. Make your own nose drops by mixing one clove of crushed garlic and 10 parts water. Not even joking. I'm pretty sure I have one of these saline bottles that's almost empty in the bathroom. I'm totally going to make it. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to squirt it right up my nose. That is the smartest damn thing I've ever heard. Awesome. And then it says flu recovery potassium deficiency. If you were likely to have nausea or vomiting during your last flu episode, you're likely to deplete with potassium. Potassium is also something that you should be having well amounts or the healthy amounts of it in your diet anyway. So it doesn't hurt for you to have like a banana-rich smoothie or a banana yogurt shake. Just be careful on the dairy. This is talking about like after flu symptoms, but yeah, just be careful on the dairy in general as well. It's also important, make sure that it's healthy for you. But if there's something that you enjoy and it's not necessarily a full compromising thing, relieving stress, or having some sort of enjoyment or something that you enjoy in general, actually does it doesn't necessarily fight the virus, but it doesn't contribute in a negative way by you just being irritable and irritated and then contributing to stress and anxiety even more. Herbal flu prevention. Neuropaths and herbalists list Echinacea as one of the most powerful flu-fighting herbs. I've already reiterated that. Echinacea is especially powerful when taken in conjunction with Goldenseal. I already reiterated that. The benefit of that is that I'm using multiple sources, so you don't have to worry about if that's an accurate source or whatever. So that's, I guess, the upside to me repeating myself. So an icy foot bath for fighting flu. Again, I kind of already reiterated this. Fast-moving blood and strong circulation can get rid of the body's contaminants. So I already talked about that. Let's see. Bonset tea for achy flu. I actually do have a couple more. I've been using them myself for the last year. This is my my first herbal tincture recipe that I made. It's saved me a many time. It's immune support formula. And it specifically has bonset herb, thyme, lavender, yarrow flower, lemon balm, rosemary, echinacea, and chamomile. So it's got all the anxiety relief, the sedatives, and it's got the antimicrobial. And bonset is the go-to herb, even from medicinal, I guess experts from Native American tribes or whatever, that specifically are using bonset herb. They used to call it the bone-setting herb because it would help when your bones felt like they were broken or something like that, my friend told me. So, bonset tea for achy flu offers quick relief. Herbalists say prepare a tea, simply steep a teaspoonful of leaves of the dried herb into a cup of boiling water. Add honey and lemon. Drink throughout the day until your symptoms disappear. So, bonset herb is something that you don't take long-term, but you can do 3 to 4 cups a day. This book doesn't reference that, but I already referenced that in one of my other books. So garlic for long-term prevention. Again, garlic is one of your safest bets along with coconut oil. So you can take this as long as you want, all the time. Some people have vast amounts of garlic incorporated into their diet at all times. So to boost your immune system throughout the year, add a few garlic cloves to your daily diet. Garlic is most effective when raw, by the way. So the tinctures are definitely... although I do throw them into soups sometimes. One time I actually made the soup and I put the tincture in late, and then I just turned it off and put it on simmer. And apparently Boo got when he was kind of sick, got partially drunk and had the full beneficial effects of the garlic because it was raw, fermented in alcohol. So I mean, there's that, and there's some over-the-counter symptom relief kind of medicine that's been alcohol-based before, naturally, because they kind of stole it off of what the original medicines were. So it wouldn't necessarily hurt you unless you're obviously giving it to children, but you should go through a whole other different regimen or tactics when administering anything to children in general. And by the way, just for disclaimer, I'm not advocating that these remedies or these things are good for kids. Some of the teas would work, but I'm not focalizing on you administering this to children. You should take them to a medical professional. about to run out of time here. Okay. So green tea and yarrow. When flu-like symptoms include nausea, weaknesses, or diarrhea, Chinese herbalists recommended drinking green tea to combat viruses. And if you add yarrow to this, it has a cooling, stimulating effect, and it helps to shrink mucous membranes and ease diarrhea or indigestion. You can also gargle with tea tree oil. I definitely want to do that, especially with Saturn being in Capricorn as well as Pluto, and people, there being a trend for people to have dental issues or flare-ups or infections in the mouth, especially when Taurus is the sign for Uranus. That this would definitely be a twofer, so you could help fight infection in your mouth and any kind of viral, contaminants that are starting to build up, and you can also help with any kind of cavities or inflammation or infection of the gums as well. So tea tree oil is believed to stimulate the immune system and fight infection. If your flu is accompanied by a raging sore throat, add a few drops of the oil to salt water, gargle to relieve the pain and speed up the healing process. And sage solution, I also add sage to like my cayenne soup that I make. So I add sage and ginger and garlic and cayenne to it. So sage solution, white sage is also known as the best natural antibiotic. Fight the flu, make white sage solution using 30 to 60 drops of a tincture mixed with warm water. Either drink the brew as a tea or gargle it. I make a sage tincture too. I think I mixed it in there with something. Alright, next book.
What?
Nothing. This is actually one of my favorite books ever. And funny enough, I have like 3 or 4 copies of this, and I see it every freaking time I go to a thrift store. I even was at some point buying multiple copies, even though I already had some, just to specifically gift them or sell them cheap to people that I know. Because I'm like, wow, this thing is awesome. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, I put tabs on the top. Alright, influenza. So I'm going to go over influenza, flu, and then weakened immune system. This will go into extensive details with some of the symptoms and stuff. So this is highlighting knowing the difference between the different kind of viruses that you have. So influenza is the flu. It because this illness can be easily spread by coughing and sneezing. Influenza epidemics are very common, especially in winter. More than 200 different viruses can cause colds and flu. Symptoms of influenza are usually headache, fatigue, body aches, a fever. You may be unbearably hot one moment and chilled and shaking the next. Dry throat, cough, nausea, vomiting may occur. Often a person with the flu is so weak and uncomfortable that he or she does not feel like eating or doing anything else. Influenza is rarely dangerous in healthy adults 60 years of age or younger, but it does make a person more susceptible to pneumonia, which is usually what happens. That story that I read off in the beginning of this is what happens when you play off the flu and it turns into pneumonia. It can turn to also ear infections and sinus trouble. Among people 65 or older, serious respiratory infections such as pneumonia or influenza are the 5th leading cause of death. So flu is clearly a serious infection for older people, and in general overall, because if naturally the only best defense is a strong immune system, and that has to be basically beefed up by nutrition and vitamins and supplements and stuff. If you're malnourished and you're eating garbage and you don't have that great of a diet, and the American diet in general is notorious for being completely garbage, that's actually why this is a high probability or leading cause of death in the United States, and likely more of a problem here than perhaps in other countries. Which is another reason why the big corporations like Monsanto and stuff like that, I'm sure, are trying to discourage people from using coconut oil. Whatever. So nutrients that are beneficial for this: zinc contains vitamin A, C, and E, plus selenium and zinc. Take the supplement in addition to zinc lozenges and directed below. Vitamin A, a powerful antioxidant and immune booster. Vitamin C, 5,000 to 20,000 milligrams daily in divided doses. strengthens the immune system, and increases the number of quality of white blood cells. For children, use buffered vitamin C or calcium ascorbate. Yeah. Okay. Garlic, 2 capsules 3 times daily. Again, you can't go wrong with too much garlic. I actually took 3 or 4 this morning, and I'll probably take a little bit more later because I'm pretty much out of my garlic tincture stuff, and that makes me nervous. So it has antiviral and antibacterial properties. And then vitamin B complex, 100 milligrams daily, necessary for all cellular and enzyme functions, reduces stress caused by viral infections. And then psyllium boosts the immune response, enhances the body's ability to fight infection. Herbs that are recommended for influenza are echinacea, ginger and goldenseal, and slippery elm and yarrow. You can all administer them as teas. Combining peppermint tea with any of these is also effective for helping open up the nasal passages. Caution, do not take goldenseal internally on a daily basis for more than 1 week at a time. Do not use it during pregnancy, and use it with caution if you're allergic to ragweed. So this is why I love this book. Not only does it go over what the condition is, what the symptoms are, the nutrients that you should take are like the vitamin supplements you can get, and then the herbs, and then it actually usually goes into foods too. And it says, alcohol-free echinacea and goldenseal combinations are recommended for children. Echinacea is very effective at enhancing the body's own natural defenses. Goldenseal is a natural antibiotic. Cayenne helps to keep mucus flowing and aiding in preventing congestion and headaches. And then at first sign of cough, place a drop full of alcohol-free echinacea and goldenseal extract in your mouth and hold it there for 5 to 10 minutes. Repeat this every hour for 3 or 4 hours. This stops the virus from multiplying. Fungreek breaks the phlegm and mucus, and slippery elm helps remove it from the body. Recommendations: consume plenty of fresh juices, herbal teas, and soups. Take hot chicken or turkey soup. This is grandmother's old recipe and still good today. Add a bit of cayenne pepper to prevent and break up congestion. Drink kombucha tea and sleep and rest as much as possible. Do not take zinc at the same time that you eat or drink citrus fruits or juices. It will diminish the effectiveness of the zinc. I already highlighted that. And antibiotics are useless against viral illnesses like influenza. To get rid of the flu or any other infectious illness is to attack it head-on by strengthening the immune system. We do not recommend flu shots. Flat out, we do not recommend flu shots right there. Yeah. And this isn't one of these, homeopathic quack books that says, don't ever go to the doctor, don't trust them or anything like that. It's in some cases they tell you, yeah, you need to go. So I trust this book when it says the vaccines. That, and I personally, out of everybody I know, there's not a good rap sheet with vaccines, like the flu vaccine. And I've actually never had one in my life, and yeah, I'm not going to say anything else beyond that because I don't want to jinx myself. Anyway, so pneumonia. So we were reading the influenza one. So influenza and flu are pretty much one and one and the same. And pneumonia is what happens if you neglect to purge the actual bacterial or contagious virus, and you just suppress the symptoms, and it just is like a wasting kind of virus, and it starts to eat away at your immune system. And that's when you start to have organ failure like that one guy. So pneumonia is typically preceded by an upper respiratory infection such as cold, influenza, or measles. Factors that increase the risk of pneumonia include being either under 1 year or 60 or over 60 years of age, a weakened immune system, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, HIV infection, seizure. Boo, can you go? Boo, boo, boo! Can you go fucking talk to mom?
Yeah, sorry.
Fucking god damn it. It's fine, it's fine. Just go, please help her. She's freaking the fuck out. She wants toilet paper or something. God damn it.
What's wrong?
What? We have one roll.
We have one roll. Yeah, sure.
Whatever. HIV infection, seizure, or stroke. Aspiration under anesthesia, alcoholism, smoking, kidney failure, sickle cell disease, malnutrition, foreign bodies in respiratory passages, exposure to chemical irritants, and even allergies. Bacterial pneumonia, so there's 3 different kinds of pneumonia. There's bacterial, viral, and fungal. So bacterial pneumonia is very dangerous and comes on suddenly. So this would be notorious with Mars conjunct with Jupiter. Usually as complicated as some other illnesses, symptoms usually include shakes, chills, and high temperatures. The cough is dry at first, and then rust color sputum is produced, and breathing becomes rapid and labored. Chest pain that worsens upon inhalation, and abdomen pain and fatigue are also common. That's bacterial pneumonia. Viral pneumonia is more variable in course and severity. It can come on suddenly or gradually, and symptoms can be mild, severe, or anything in between. It is less serious than bacterial pneumonia, but if not cared for properly, a second bacterial infection can set in. So if you neglect it from the get-go and don't actually take care of the influenza or the flu, it turns into bacterial pneumonia, or it turns into viral pneumonia. If you don't, take it seriously with the viral pneumonia, it then turns into bacterial pneumonia where it's pretty much starting to kill your organs. So let's see. Fungal pneumonia is much less common, often associated with weakened or suppressed immune systems, or being exposed to contaminated pollutants or polluted air. About 2 million cases of pneumonia are diagnosed in the United States every year. 40,000 to 70,000 people die of the disease, making it the 6th leading cause of death in the United States. That's a lot to do with malnutrition in general, and people not being aware of symptoms, and then playing off that it's nothing. No matter what the cause, pneumonia usually leaves the sufferer with weakness that persists for 4 to 8 weeks. So you need to be aware of that. 4 to 8 weeks. If you come down with the flu or whatever, even if you get over your peak symptoms, you need to be on top of it and be aware and watch yourself, or even have your spouse or your housemates watch you, and document everything. And you're not off scot-free until the 2nd month from when you were sick. So even for myself, I was mildly sick on the winter solstice, the 21st of December. So technically, I have till February-ish before I can quote-unquote say that I'm in the clear from having anything else. And although, yes, I'm taking, measures and tinctures and stuff like that, I'm still going to be on top of this and in general, because they're unpredictable superbugs, and with Mars being acute and just instantly traumatic, and it being conjunct with Jupiter, which exacerbates or magnifies that even somebody with a built-up immune system, or taking some sort of supplements, especially like, for example, with me having a mineral deficiency thing, that could potentially still be a concern for myself, so I need to make sure I'm on top of that. This is too serious for you to slack at all. That's kind of what I'm saying. This isn't like a protocol for every kind of scenario, but for this flu season and for the remainder of the 2018, at least into November, this is actually completely necessary and serious. Ignore if you hear anything in the background. People are rude and loud, and the sufferer with weakness and persists for 4 to 8 weeks after the acute phase of the infection has resolved. So nutrients for pneumonia would be vitamin A, enhances immunity and promotes repair of lung tissue. God, shut up. Do not take such dosages in capsule form, by the way. Vitamin C is very important for reducing inflammation and for immune response. Free-form amino acid complexes are to supply protein and important for tissue repair. Grapeseed extract boosts immune systems, protects the lung tissue, and reduces the frequency and severity of colds and flus. A vitamin B complex, it promotes normal digestion and of antibodies and formation of red blood cells, healthy mucous membranes. So again, to the tincture for wheatgrass builds red blood cells. This is actually more effective than the vitamin B complex, and it actually does have all the vitamin B complex in it as well. Let's see. Essential fatty acids, flaxseed oil or primrose oil, needed to build new lung tissue and reduce inflammation, improves speeds recovery, and boosts immunity. Garlic, I've already reiterated that multiple times, protects against respiratory infections, destroys unwanted bacteria in the body. And the melatonin helps to improve sleep, a natural hormone for the pineal gland, and helps to have a healthy cycle for the body's sleep and wake cycle. Sleep, obviously, and rest is very important for this. Multivitamin and mineral complex to maintain balance of all necessary nutrients in the body. Let's see. Alright, so I covered influenza and flu, and then that was pneumonia. So now I'm going to go over weakened immune system. So anybody who has pre-existing conditions like diabetes or HIV or something like that, or if they're within those vulnerable age ranges or whatever, then this would be for you specifically, because this is, you're already susceptible, as you should probably know, to this. And so this is hazardous to even the average healthy person with a normal immune system. So weakened immune system. True health can be attained only by maintaining a healthy, properly functioning immune system. Weakening of the immune system results in increased susceptibility to virtually every type of illness. Another important component of immunity is the lymphatic system, the spleen, the thymus, tonsils, and lymph nodes. The immune system can work as it should only if it's cared for properly. This means getting all the right nutrients and providing the right environment, plus avoiding those things that tend to depress the immunity. Many elements of the environment we live in today compromise our immune system's defense abilities. The chemicals in household cleaners we use, the overuse of antibiotics and other drugs, the antibiotics, pesticides, additives presented in food, exposure to environmental pollutants. Another factor, immune system, is adversely affected by stress. Stress results in a sequence of biochemical events that ultimately suppress the normal activity of white blood cells and places undue demands on the endocrine systems, as well as depleting the body of needed nutrients. The program of supplements outlined here is designed to strengthen the immune system, whether it is damaged as a result of disease, stress, inadequate nutrition, poor living habits, chemotherapy, or a combination of one or more of these factors. This is a huge list, by the way, and I can't even read half of these. ACETYL /L carnitine. I highlighted the ones that I'm familiar with and that are the go-tos, because although these all have beneficials, like this says metabolic and cell membrane protector, the wheatgrass helps with that, the coconut oil helps with that, restores important bacteria in the intestinal tract, garlic helps with that, for tissue of oxygenation, that wheatgrass helps with that, contains minerals and trace elements that boost and nourish the immune system, taking iron and your zinc would help with that, to protect the body from free radical damage and environmental stresses. Again, the slippery elm thing would help with that I've already gone over. So the essential fatty acids. So the only time I would ever, and by the way, if anybody actually wants this list, I can actually type it up and put it on the blog, but because I can't actually pronounce half of those things. These are the actual vitamin supplements. The only time that those would be, more preferred is if somebody has some sort of allergy to certain herbs or plants or whatever. So essential fatty acids, most important element to the diet necessary for healthy immune system. Free-form amino acid complex, which, by the way, coconut oil has all of the amino acids that you need in it as well. Garlic, I've already gone over that, stimulates the immune system. Kelp supplies a balance of minerals needed for the immune system's integrity. Magnesium, 2 milligrams daily, necessary for proper immune function, works with B vitamins to provide general feeling of well-being. Grapeseed extract, one of the most potent antioxidants, and protects the cells. Selenium, important free radical destroyer. So that kind of just emphasizes on the first 3 or 4 supplements on the first page. Then taurine, that's one of the main ingredients that's in energy drinks. Again, I would advise staying away from that per se, depending on how much mucus buildup you have in your throat. And vitamin A+, needed for proper immune function, powerful antioxidants. Vitamin B complex Anti-stress vitamins, especially important for normal brain function, considers injections of vitamin B and vitamin 12. Amino acids are necessary for best absorption of amino acids for proper functioning of the enzymes in the body. Good source of B vitamins and iron, considered injections. Vitamin C with bioflavonoids, an important antioxidant that decreases susceptibility of infection. Vitamin E, an antioxidant that is an integral part of the body's defense system. Multivitamin and mineral complex, all vitamins and minerals are necessary in balanced use, high potency formula. Be wary of the multivitamin complexes that are like the huge horse pills that have everything in it, because yet again, how the example with like zinc, mixing it with any kind of citrus anything, there are some vitamins that if you just basically are gorging them into your system all at once, that your body just rejects it all and then just pushes it out and you don't absorb any of it. Let's see. Zinc and plus copper, very important for the immune system. It helps to use zinc form needed to balance with zinc. Okay. Then herbs, bayberry, fenugreek, horehound, licorice root, red clover all enhance immune systems. Caution, if overused, licorice can elevate blood pressure. So if you're on any kind of heart medications or anything like that, first you should check with your doctor, or at least take it in very minuscule amounts. Or if anything, I looked for these like a year ago, and when I was freaking out about this, but they now have those heart rate monitor things that are they go on your wrist. You can get for like $20 at like Big Lots or Walmart now. If you don't have accessibility to consult with your doctor or whatever like that, you can, I mean, assume at your own risk, obviously, but you can test your blood pressure, and then then take your heart medication or your blood pressure medication, test it again, document it, and then take a very, very small fraction of whatever herb is can alter potentially blood pressure medication or whatever, or contribute to that, and then check yourself in about 10, 15, 20 minutes after that and see what the differences are. And if you think it's within reason, or there's nothing really substantial going on, then it's likely this example is not necessarily an average case scenario. Let's see. Black radish, dandelion, or milk thistle help to cleanse the liver and bloodstream. The liver is the organ that for detoxification and must function optimally to get rid of any bacteria and foreign viruses. Ginseng aids immune function and has anti-cancer properties. Caution: do not use ginseng if you have high blood pressure. Again, because that's a stimulant. Echinacea boosts the immune system and enhances lymphatic function. Goldenseal strengthens the immune system, cleanses the body, and has antibacterial properties. Caution: do not take goldenseal internally on a daily basis for more than 1 week at a time. Do not use during pregnancy, and caution if you are allergic to ragweed. I already emphasized on that. St. John's wort, a natural blood purifier and fights viruses. So recommendations: vitamin A is an anti-infection vitamin. Is very important for the body's defense system. Vitamin C may be the single most important vitamin for the immune system. Vitamin E interacts with vitamin A and C, primary antioxidant, part of the body's defense system. Zinc boosts the immune response. It also helps to protect the liver. Doses of over 100 milligrams per day may actually depress the immune function, however, so be aware of that. Chlora or chlorophyll and garlic contain trace elements beneficial for the immune system. It's also found in kelp. Kelp contains iodine, calcium, iron, protein, riboflavonoid, and vitamin C, which are necessary for the immune system's functional integrity. And follow a fasting program once a month to rid your body of toxins that can weaken the immune system. So actually, as a matter of fact, if anybody's interested in some recipes with that, this Tea Cleanse book actually goes more or less over detoxes. The gimmick is, weight loss and toxin purging and stuff like that. But it's one of those books that's like, would you like to lose weight? You can do fasting with teas. So, but, I mean, the fasting and the detoxing with the teas, even if your end goal isn't to lose weight, it still is beneficial and works the same way. Okay. Woohoo, that book's done. Alright, I got 2 more books. 2 more books, man. Alright, Pneumonia, Origins and Science. So this is actually Fighting Disease, Prevention Total Health System. And it's actually a legit credible medical major book. So, pre-med. Pneumonia. A lung infection pneumonia usually starts with a virus or bacteria. Difficult breathing is one of the first symptoms, along with dry cough and fever. One type, which typically strikes young adults, is dangerous just because its victims don't realize they have it. Walking pneumonia. That's what's going to be killing everybody. So, masquerades as the flu, which is what happened to that gentleman that's now in ICU. Without proper treatment, the immune system frequently remains weak, allowing for relapses that can be serious. So if in addition to a cough and fever you develop shortness of breath, check with your doctor to see if you're having walking pneumonia. A third form of the disease, considered new, made nationwide headlines in 1976 when 29 people staying in a plush hotel inexplicably died. Since most of the victims were attending the American Legion convention, reporters dubbed their killer Legionnaire's disease. The culprit, it was an unnamed organism. The Legionella pneumonia, one of the sneakiest bacteria ever. It used to exist harmlessly in muddy outdoor places like streams. Then in 1976 it developed the new ability. It was able to move indoors. It found a new breeding ground in unsanitary water, in shower drains, or air conditioners. The bug is almost dangerous to people in poor health. It's most dangerous to people in poor health and finds 70,000 of them a year. With no coincidence that 29 people who died had common smoking, drinking, and generally weak immune systems. 4,400 other people attending the convention, as well as unaccounted for other visitors to the hotel, all were exposed to the same germs but left the hotel unscathed. A weak immune system can set you up for 3 kinds of pneumonia, but a strong one protects you, so keep the germ fighting. Immunity for your lungs. In pneumonia, insect bacteria and viruses clog up the alveoli, or alveoli, with fluid. So it's like they look like little tree branches or hairs inside your lungs. Antioxidants. The most effective agent we found was vitamin E. Some experts suggest that one daily 800 IU dose of vitamin E will keep your ample supply. Antioxidants, vitamin A nutrient magnifies vitamin E's effectiveness. In addition, vitamin A fights infection by building up feisty members of the immune system called the Lysozymes. Medical terminology was a class that I did not finish. I totally dropped out of that, I'm not gonna lie. Don't know how to say all those words, but whatever. Normally these are plentiful in the mucous membranes of your lungs, guarding them against invading viruses or bacteria that try to sneak in with the air you breathe. Vitamin A can protect you from other assaults on the immune system as well. And the sheer stress of living can rob you up to 60% of your vitamin A, once again leaving you vulnerable. But you can avoid all these dangers with adequate vitamin A, which also, by the way, yet again, the tincture for wheatgrass has sufficient amounts of vitamin A in it as well. In fact, if you were to actually grow your own wheatgrass or drink the juice itself, if you drink more than 1 ounce, like a shot glass of it, you actually will get sick because of how much nutrients you're actually absorbing. Let's see. If you take vitamin A in the supplement form, do not exceed 25,000 IU per day without consulting your doctor. Vitamin A, good sources include nutritional sources are liver, sweet potatoes, carrots, spinach, cantaloupe, kale, broccoli, winter squash, and mustard greens. Be aware romaine lettuce was just recently recalled for E. coli. And again, anything that would be produce, spinach has recently had some sort of listeria, I think, about a month or 2 back. Broccoli and kale could potentially have issues as well. And yeah, so just be aware. Can't remember which it is for like the safety recalls and stuff in general too. But I mean, even so, people the actual safety regulations and the agencies that are supposed to actually be making sure that we're informed about that. No, I wouldn't actually bet my life on that. So the best thing that you can do is utilize social media and I just type in whatever you want to go get and say something terrible about it, like or just toxic. Just put toxic cantaloupe, toxic whatever, and see what comes up with that. And there's nothing wrong with just thoroughly and meticulously investigating your produce when you're at the store. Let's see. What other nutrients can help you combat pneumonia by boosting resistance? 3 B vitamins, perhaps B6, folate, and research published in the Journal of American Medical Association showed that they are essential for the immune system's production of antibodies. Those custom-made antidotes to different germs. Vitamin deficiencies slow down antibody production, but good nutrition can quickly bring it back to normal. Your immune system is your best defense against pneumonia. Keep it nourished and healthy. I think that's all I referenced in that one. Oh my god, I'm on my last book. Guys. Okay. Okay. So this is one of my principles and practices of homeopathy book. And so this goes in actually making it and everything, but it's got these tables and diagrams going over specifically the different symptoms or classifications with flu, influenza, and pneumonia. So flu and influenza, flu with restlessness. High fever, so symptoms are high fever that comes on abruptly, sore throat, feelings of great apprehension or fear often accompanied by physical symptoms. Causes or onset is infection, exposure to dry, cold, or windy or very hot weather. Emotional shock or fright, so stress. When you feel better, you'll feel better from the fresh air. You'll feel worse in warm rooms, lying on the affected side, in the evening or at night, near tobacco smoke or near music. Which is odd. And then the remedy or dosage would be Aconite, Aconite. The reason why I can't say these ones, I actually put in Sharpie right there that they're toxic. So they're toxic in larger dosages, but again, my rule of thumb, just personally for me, my preference is I try to avoid or find substitutions for any of the things that are considered toxic, because if it differs between like an extra tablespoon or not, it could potentially be hazardous or damaging to me, I prefer to find an alternative. So it's toxic. I think I don't even want to. I'll just go over the symptoms actually, because I think most of those I wrote toxic. So flu with high fever. The symptoms would be high fever that comes on suddenly, face is flushed and bright red, sore throat, eyes are wide and staring, possible confusion or delirium. The cause or onset would be infection or head getting cold, wet, or overheated. You feel better by standing, sitting upright, and in warm rooms. You feel worse with jarring movement, noise, and light, in hot sun, lying down on the right side, or at night. Belladonna, which is deadly nightshade, is the recommended remedy and dosage. I'm not even going to go to dosage because, if you want to research those and try to do those on your own, then, more power to you. I'm not even going to enable that by actually reading off the information. Flu with chills and weakness. Symptoms would be lack of thirst despite fever. Sore throat, chills up and down spine, splitting headache, which is better after urinating, fatigue, legs feel weak and shaky, strong bone pain, feeling apprehensive and stressed about forthcoming event or task. The cause or onset is infection, worry about forthcoming event or public speaking. And you feel better from fresh air, with movement, after urinating, from drinking alcohol, bending forward. That just sounds like a psychosomatic illness. And you'll feel worse in the early morning, the last thing at night, in the sun or fog, before a thunderstorm, from humidity or near tobacco smoke. Interesting. Flu with severe throbbing headache. Symptoms would be violent headache that is made worse by coughing or moving the eyes slightly, dehydration with the need to drink lots of fluids at infrequent intervals, irritability, and the desire to be at home. Cause or onset is infection, stress, and worry about financial problems. Interesting. You feel better in cool surroundings from firm pressure applied to the head and with sleep. You feel worse with excitement, noise, touch, movement, bright light, from eating around 3 a.m. to 9 p.m., from coughing. So this is why I love that nutritional, prescribed nutritional book, is because it does have the references for like the herbs and the, different natural remedies, but it doesn't go into the realm of quackery. I'm not saying quackery, but I'm just like, how the hell do you distinguish a type of influenza or flu by you being afraid of public speaking events? That was pulled out of somebody's ass hardcore. But anyway, the remedy and dosage for the flu with chills and weakness. So if it's for public speaking, jasmine tea helps. And if you ever get the actual plant itself, the yellow flowers are toxic, by the way. Just go get the jasmine tea that's already, pre-boxed at the store. Flu severe with throbbing headache that's about financial problems. Hops is a recommended remedy for that. Yeah. Let's see. Colds are early symptoms include a mild sore throat, watery nasal discharge, and sneezing. Coughs are dry and productive, caused by irritation, lining in the air passages, such as mucus dripping down the throat during a cold, smoking, or by pollen or hay fever sufferers. Colds that comes on slowly. Mouth feels hot, throat is red and swollen. Mild fever is possible. Nosebleeds are possible. Cause or onset is infection or overheating without perspirating. You feel better from cold compresses applied to the forehead and a gentle exercise. You feel worse from jarring or touch lying on the right side from fresh air in the sun between 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. The remedy and dosage is ferrium phosphorus, which is iron minerals. Take 2C every 2 hours for up to 4 doses. Take as directed iron supplements. Yeah. Let's see. Then early stages of cold with sneezing. Symptoms are cold that starts with violent sneezing with a thin mucus discharge like a white or raw egg. Nose may be blocked and cold sores may develop. A desire to be left alone and dislike of sympathy. Interesting. Cause or onset. Infection or emotional distress. You feel better from fresh air, from fasting, applying cold compresses to the sinuses. You feel worse around 10 a.m. This sounds like this was written by like a housewife that like was using their husband as like the guinea pig to decide what is symptoms and what makes them feel better. You feel worse around 10 a.m. in the cold, stormy weather from mental or physical exertion, in a draft, sea air, or hot sun, near noise, talking, or music. By the way, since the spitting venom, talking about the spiritism causing illness, is actually quote unquote the source for random sudden acute contagious illness and viruses. It's usually the presence or maybe even spirit attachment or possession that's making them sick, where they don't like music, because actually the spirit things don't like music. I've already proven that. I've got the audio. It's up on my Facebook actually. So music, you should definitely still play music, even if it's quiet. So cold with yellow mucus, nose is blocked. This is symptoms. Nose is blocked at night but runny during the day. Mucus is bland and yellow. Lack of thirst and loss of smell. Nosebleeds may occur. Headache above the eyes may develop. The cause or onset is infection. You feel better by raising the hands above your head, from exercise and fresh air, from cold drinks and cold compresses, and from crying and sympathy. Okay. You feel worse in the sun with heat from rich fatty foods and in the evening and at night. And I didn't highlight the dosage and remedies, so I'm guessing that that's one of the toxic ones. So, flu or influenza symptoms include fever, muscle aches, and pains, a headache, a sore throat, cough. Children, the elderly, smokers, and diabetics are likely to be most seriously affected. Precautions. Flu. If it is accompanied by a fever that does not clear within 4 days, see immediate medical attention. Self-help treatments, colds and flu. Plenty of rest and drink lots of fluids. Hot water mixed with fresh lemon and juice and little honey. Take vitamins A, C, and zinc, and combination of Q-tissue salts. I know that a lot of this repeated itself, but yeah, sorry. At least if you miss something, you can just kind of listen to it some more, and yeah. Let's see. Jasmine tea is called gelsium, Yellow flowers are poisonous in large dosages, interferes with breathing and movement and causing paralysis. This is why I steer away from like the Greek or ancient Roman traditional, homeopathic herbs, because a lot of them are toxic, and I'm just like, yeah, no. Interferes with breathing and movement. That's kind of important when you have influenza. It's a fever cure. It alleviates the following: headaches that intensify with movement and bright light and feel as if there is a tight band around the head, sore scalp due to nerve inflammation, muscle pain associated with fever, nervous disorders such as multiple sclerosis, painful menstruation, drooping, heavy eyelids, achy right eye pain, sore throat with red tonsils, difficulty swallowing, and earache in summer colds. It is also used for fears and phobias, all accompanied by trembling. So jasmine tea, you can get that as an actual tea that's prepackaged. That's the only one I'm really going to read on besides iron. So iron is found in red blood cells and which carries oxygen around the body. So again, this wheatgrass tincture is a great source for that as well. So most beneficial in the first stages of inflammation, when extra blood flows into the affected tissues can cause congestion. Key uses: the early stages of inflammation, fever, and infection before any other definite symptoms have appeared. Best with coughs and colds with slow onset. Ailments treated is used for onset infections and inflammations, colds that start slowly and may be accompanied by nosebleeds, slow starting fevers, and dry, hacking coughs with chest pain, laryngitis, headaches that are eased by cool compresses, earache, rheumatoidism accompanied by temperature or shooting pain that recedes with gentle exercise. Wild hops. Wild hops is Bryonia, Bryonia, was used medicinally by the ancient Greeks and Romans for treatment of epilepsy, vertigo, paralysis, gout, hysteria, wounds, and coughs. The root smells and tastes bitter and is very poisonous. Why am I even reading this? Yeah, no. I ain't gonna go there. Yeah, you don't need to read Deadly Nightshade either. Or that one. Yep. What is this tab? Pulsatilla, Pulsatilla, used to treat cataracts, ulcers, tooth decay, and depression. I think it says Abu herb. Key uses: digestive problems, emotional problems such as depression. So if you actually get like a stomach flu, this might actually be beneficial. Helps with migraines, nausea, vomiting, sinus congestion, depression, coughs, colds, and acne, and gastronitis. Common names are windflower and meadow pasqueflower. It helps with discharging excess mucus, such as colds, with either runny or blocked noses, sinus congestion, loose cough, and greenish yellow phlegm. Eye problems, for example, styes and conjunctivitis. Digestive complaints causing eating rich and fatty foods, such as indigestion, gastronitis, nausea, and vomiting, are helped with this. Other conditions that respond well include depression, varicose veins, nosebleed, toothache, osteoarthritis, rheumatoidism, low backache, acne, migraines, headaches, and above eyes, and fever without thirst. I think that's the gist of... Okay, so anybody who's interested in any tinctures that I may have, I do have a lemon balm tincture mixture that's over there, and I can put them in some of these droplet bottle doses. So these are all, besides the anise ones that I had in this little basket here. I already advertised those the other day as a special. These are $10 each, obviously plus shipping. And the contract of liability is in the PayPal invoice, so I only take PayPal, by the way. So any of the other tinctures, they'll be $15 each plus shipping. I do have a couple of the influenza and immune support formula still left. And so I've got the lemon balm one, and so that helps with irritable bowel syndrome, indigestion, digestion issues, stress related. helps with Cancers, Virgos, Capricorns, and Pisces. And then I have an Echinacea and a lemon balm tincture over there as well. So that's an immune booster for colds, flus, influenza, disinfectant, fever. Helps with the viral, glandular, and fatigue. You can take it as a tincture or capsules recommended. It helps with stomach bugs, food poisoning, digestive bacteria issues, so if you get stomach flu. I also have ginger, a tincture over there that's ginger root, dandelion root, fenugreek seeds, and valerian root. And it helps with flu, cold, respiratory infections, nausea, travel, motion sickness, bitter tonic, digestive issues, contains inulin, helps with blood sugars, diabetic issues, digestive inflammation, fights detoxifying. Fights bacteria and is detoxifying. Heart healthy. It helps with insomnia, depression, and adrenal issues, and lowers blood pressure, and helps with irritable bowel syndrome. That's usually caused by stress. I have other ones that are just like one herb concoctions or recipes in general too. If anybody's interested, and if there's perhaps more that I haven't gone over, I know I've got some over there. Like I know I've got like St. John's wort and lavender and echinacea as well. So that would be a detoxifier, blood purification, liver detox, and immune booster for that. And it'd also be a sedative and something that calms stress. So I'm also going to try to go to some sort of store now. Wow, I didn't expect it to take this long. And I'm going to go ferment some more garlic tincture as well. And so if anybody actually would like to request a custom tincture of some kind, or if you happen to schedule a consultation or reading with me in the future, and we kind of go over some specific herbs and mixtures and recipes that would be ideal for you, I can make a custom batch if that's something that you're interested in. Just feel free to hit me up and let's talk about it. I hope this was beneficial. And yeah, at least I stayed on topic the whole time. Just 2 hours long. At least I said the Uranus and Taurus video is going to be 2 hours long, so I didn't lie. There's a 2-hour video. The great thing is I'm going to be nice, and I'm not going to, opt for people to compensate me for this one. This one's going to be free, because, who the hell would try to, coax people to pay for this? That's nuts. Yeah. Anyway, good luck, guys. Stay healthy, stay safe, and if you have any further questions, hit me up, and etc., etc. Any of the personal recipes or things that I make, if you don't, if you're on Instagram and you don't follow my Instagram, Apple Valley Astrologer or Ray Reinhardt's, just look it up. It's a public Instagram account. I usually will post screen caps of when I'm making recipes and stuff like that. Like specifically like my coconut oil chocolates. Those were really good and awesome. And the benefit of that is you get the coconut oil intake that's definitely great for your immune system. And it makes you feel like you're not being completely deprived, especially when you have to be a little bit more strict with your dietary and nutrition regimen when you're sick. And anyway, awesome, guys.